Those of you who are unfamiliar with the word agnostic, is a belief that no one could be 100% sure of divine beings. An agnostic is someone who simply doesn't know. I was raised without any forced religion, for my parents knew it was important for me to choose my own belief based on faith versus making double. The Bible is not only a book. I'm not trying to be like a little fucking nerd and tell you it's just like,
it's more than that. It's a way of
life.
life.
Just didn't fall from heaven one day. It wasn't written in 1 year, not 1 decade, not 1 century. It's a collection of written down oral stories told from mother to daughter, father to son over thousands of years. To say that there was one author and to say that we know the name of this person, straight stupidity. To understand the origins of this holy book, we must understand the content. I'm gonna go out on a limb and claim that you, the viewer, already knows that the Bible is a collection of books, and inside these collection of books, there are two respective collection of books called the Old Testament and the New Testament. There are 39 books in the Old Testament. There are 27 books in the New Testament. And within a historical context, the Gospels, for example, we cannot historically prove that, for example, the Gospel of Luke was written by Luke. But if you actually read these texts, each and every single book has a different author style, different choice of diction. So we know that each book was written by a different author. We cannot prove that the content within these books actually existed in reality. It is beautiful to know that each one of these books written over multiple centuries by different authors have the same overall message. Redemption and salvation. The only proven origins of the Bible that are not heavily spiritualized and heavily riddled with misinformation are the Ketuvim scrolls and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Both over 2,000 years old, they are the earliest surviving evidence of the Hebrew Bible. It is important to note that these stories are even older than the finding of the Dead Sea Scrolls, for they have been told orally from generation to generation. In the earliest surviving New Testament text, the Ryland Papyrus P52 fragment, which is a little fragment of the Gospel of John, according to archaeological dates, the P52 fragment was written about 100 to 150 AD, while the Ketuvim scrolls was written about 300 BC. And if you calculate the duration, that is about 600 to 700 years. It is important to note that these are the earliest found fragments of the Old Testament and the New Testament compared to each other. So it's really not going to be the most accurate approximation due to there may be an even older piece of manuscript yet to be found. The most interesting part of the Bible is the apocrypha. Ain't no one care, bro. What the fuck? The apocrypha, translated from Greek, means obscure. There are plenty of obscure stories that were banned from the original cut of the Bible. I honestly cannot bother putting anymore. There's a lot. There's a fucking lot. One of the most popular apocryphal books we usually see to suggest how obscure, severely whack these apocryphal books are is the Book of Enoch. Oh shit, my bad. Well, I mean, the Book of Enoch within itself is a vague term. What most people refer to the Book of Enoch is Enoch 1, but there's also Enoch 2 and 3. Man, who the fuck out here writing a whole trilogy? It is also untrue to call it a book, similar to the Bible. The Book of Enoch is a collection of manuscripts into one. Okay, please. Enoch was a biblical character in the book of Genesis. His name was quoted multiple times later on, but motherfucking life got cut short, bro. Enoch walked with God, and then he was no more because God took him. Well, what I am? The Book of Enoch, from what I've seen, is basically a spin-off of that little snippet of the book of Genesis. But the most fever-dreamish portion of the Book of Enoch is the section called the Book of the Watchers. Book of the Watchers is excuse me. Fallen angels called the Watchers before God flooded the earth came down to dig down some human booty. I ain't even going on. Then the result of said bareback fucking are beings called the Nephilim, which are cyclop giants that munch on humans. I ain't even gonna lie to you. These fallen angels, which are called the Watchers, were, according to Enoch 8:1, taught humans how to create iron swords and other weapons to wage war. They also taught them astrology and other things. While these both spawns of literal evil were wreaking havoc on humans, the humans begged God to rid the earth of said beings. So God sent down his 4 archangels to do just that. Now here's the section where we get controversial. Holy Bible went through so many translations that each and every translation you read is like an entire different book. There are over 2,877 virgins! Now the original word of God has been saturated and changed so much to the point where some sections are used for hatred and bigotry and other weird shit. In Leviticus 20:13, it states something that has been argued and fought over, not so Christianly, for decades. I took the oldest Bible I could translate. The Vulgate in original Latin states, Qui dominati, cum masculo, coiti femineo, atorque abriati, sono facemote, monientur se sanguis, erorium supa. Supa eos. Don't forget the eos. This translation of the Bible, called the Latin Vulgate, was translated by a motherfucking named Jerome, and this Latin version was made to put it in the common tongue to make it accessible to Western Europe. This translation, although is the second earliest translation, this was written in the 4th century, the late 4th century to be exact, which is near 400 AD, versus the estimate of the Key of Henem scrolls, of which are pages from a complete Hebrew Bible that was dated about 700 to 650 BC. Like before, if you calculate the duration, 700 BC to 400 AD, that's 1,099 years. I'm on the border between agnostic and theism. No offense, theists, but you must be soft to think in not 100, not 200, but 1,100 years, a word or two could have been changed or mistranslated. It becomes evident if you look at all nature, homosexuality is a outlier. I do not think that God will punish you if you like it up the butt. It just simply doesn't make sense. What do I know? God killed so many fucking people in the Old Testament. It just doesn't, it might make sense. There's also some more fuck shit. The New Testament in Timothy 2:12, in the New Revised Standard Version, it says, permit no woman to teach or have authority over a man. She must keep silent.
Marcus, stop being so disruptive. Quietly, then you shall be burned. It's fruit against the word of God. Don't ever raise the voice at me, you fucking red.
Now, brothers, I grew up with a sister near all my life, and I can tell you that I agree with this statement. Obviously, I'm fucking joking. Like, come on, but I believe in a lot of the Holy Bible, but verses like these sounds like a written down social normality that they've lived in almost every single day. I just don't think this is God's rule. I think this is the rule of their society. I'm gonna go through a few more quick examples. Ephesians 6:5, slaves obey your earthly masters with fear and trembling in singleness of heart as you obey Christ. Exodus 21:20-21, when a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. This was probably a popular verse to make the American slave owners think they're doing good in the eyes of God. In conclusion, I spent so many days on this biblical project, yet I barely even scratched the surface of what is studied. There's a reason why biblical studies exist and is completely separate from history, because biblical studies is a complete major within itself. So much to be interpreted, so many translations, 2,187. Oh my god, I memorized that number. My end conclusion is this: I am agnostic. That means I am central and I do not know. I'm on the border between agnosticism and theism. There's so many personal experiences that push me to believe in a divine being. But I tell you, I don't think the Bible is a reliable source to put your faith in. The Bible has been mistranslated, abused, rewritten over thousands of years. To rely on the Bible on your faith instead of your heart and soul is just a mistake. There are a set of moral values in the Bible that children should grow up with, and they have, but sections of this book contains unholy things that no God or no divine being, especially the teachings of Jesus Christ and the love that he has for all of us and God, will ever promote. The Bible from an agnostic's perspective is that we cannot use it, we cannot understand it, we cannot read it, we cannot quote it without a grain of salt, for it has been abused over thousands of years. I believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ, I believe in God, but what I do not believe in is the Bible. I do not believe in churches. God created the land, God created the earth, the water, and all things beautiful, so therefore I worship that. That is my church. For God and Jesus is within me, it is not within a donation is not within the words of misquoted and abused text. I believe not in only Christianity and Judaism. I believe somewhat in all religion. I think all of them are way too similar to be different, but that is a video for another time. Therefore, the Bible from an agnostic's perspective is just that.